This ought to be good. All right, so we're live now, but let me check the audio and make sure it's okay. And let me get this positioned. If you want to see comments on your end, I think it's on the either top left or right. Did I freeze up? No.
Well, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, Alicia is on. Demetrius is on. Yay, Demetrius.
Yeah.
Wendy.
Right.
Perfect. We'll see that. Excellent.
Yeah, so let me check the, it looks like we're okay. Okay, loud and crystal clear. Thank you, Demetrius. Demetrius has been around Soulogy, I think, about 4 or 5 years, off and on. He's been a big supporter. Thank you, Demetrius.
We get to see him next month in London, finally.
Oh, really?
He's been such an incredible support. We're so grateful to be.
He's amazing. He is absolutely amazing. Okay, let's see. We got 22 people in the house. Yeah. It's still filling up. Okay, you can hear us fine? All right. Perfect. Okay, here we go. All right. So I'm going to roll the show out here formally in a second. Let me just say hello. Rebecca Williams, Higher Heart, Demetrius, Jackie Farrell, Lisa Manzentis. I should be able to say that because I'm Spanish, but I can't. I'm sorry. Sally Ann Davis, Stellar Fairbarn, Belinda Spence, Cheryl Lord Conroy, my friend. All right. Okay, so, and Tim Evans. There's a few new names I haven't seen. Must be followers of you guys. My name's Todd Medina. This is the Soulogy Network. This is our primary broadcasting vehicle. It's called Soul Speaks 5D. It's a conversation with Honi Borden and Michael Abramson today. Welcome to the show, my dear friends. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence.
Thank you.
We are so honored, Todd. Thank you so much. And Stellar is somebody, she's with her sacred beloved. I'll introduce you. And there's a lot, at some point, she'll be also on your show. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Stellar, for being with us.
Yeah. And also the other people you gave me. I'm just getting my arms around all this. This list is growing longer and longer. I can't answer all these messages. I feel bad about it. But I'm getting to them as best I can. But yeah, I'd love to bring on as many divine conscious unions as possible because it's an important part of this transition. And you guys are living proof of that with the work that you do individually and together. So I think, this is a new one. This is kind of new. We've had some couples on before, but this is feels a little bit different, maybe because the energies have been what they have been for the last few weeks in this very monumental year. So I don't know. You guys want to start with how did you guys come together? How did that happen?
I'm going to have Michael start.
It's a quite powerful story. I mean, when we look at it, it's amazing, Todd, where two souls can be flying around the world, and then all of a sudden, in their own home state of Maryland, it's like two stars passing by night, and in a very short time, they meet. And I was so honored to meet a very, very special friend of Honi, Safi Lin, who invited me to one of Honi's galactic sound and vibration classes. And it was absolutely unbelievable because I was in a time coming back from Bali, waiting to see if I was going to leave Mexico with everything up in the air and just really seeing where the universe was going to guide me next. And here I received an invitation to this powerful shamanic galactic sound vibration class, and honored and grateful enough, I was invited to meet her for dinner, which is a funny story because when I met her, we literally first encounter, she's behind the car, I walk by, and when you see someone beautiful and you're walking and she's kind of looking at her eye and I'm kind of looking at her and just just walking by.
I paid no attention to him.
That's what they do.
Another delicious one. I'm done with all of them delicious. Done.
And I saw her, and I was just being mature and just smiling, but not being too obvious, and just walked on by and went inside, and we sat down, and she was interviewing Safi for her
for my video channel with Bringers of Light video series. Yeah.
And long story short, we went upstairs, and we just started talking about, you know, where are you going, where have you been, and all of a sudden there was all these serendipitous synchronizations where I was going, Honi was going. Where what she was doing, I was called to do in the planetary healing work in Tulum, Mexico. So all these pieces started to connect where we just looked at each other like, wow, what is this all about? And that was just a little, kind of like the wrapping off the gift. So
right.
we just saw the little piece and we just kind of stuck with that until I went to her amazing class. And that just from there opened up so much energy where
with Saint Germain,
like,
yeah, the experience.
It was an unbelievable, powerful journey. And I didn't think I'd literally be sitting right in front of her in a class of about 60.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
She went through what I would say one of the most powerful journeys in which I came out, I felt like I was levitating like a little boy, you know, eating chocolate, just so happy, so grateful, so thankful. And in Baltimore, where my family grew up, in Baltimore, a blue collar, basic city, nothing, you know, in the
and it was
nature.
Everything galactic with different languages of light. My whole headpiece and with all the feathers, and I go to France, yeah, and all the languages come in and sound, and it's very, very. The 2 hours equivalent to a 3 day of ayahuasca experience, but no sound. Yeah.
Very multidimensional. And for me, I grew up in a very new age, hippie, spiritual family. So to me, this was like, wow, like this is in my backyard. All I could say was just, I was blown away. And not just meeting her, just grateful to connect in that moment because I felt something so deep and shifting in my body that I just had no words. I just was like, I have to speak more to this person. There's something drawn so deeply that when after the class, I literally, we spent the next hour at Safi's house just speaking till 2 a.m. And I remember like texting her my number, which was funny. It was right at 12, the planetary
because the work was on December 12th. I had to be in Tulum. He had received guidance. He had to be in Tulum for 12/12, and
then my number ended in 777. So that was like
and working with the 7th gate. So there was a lot in that. And that morning, Valerie, who I introduced you, Valerie and I were talking because I was supposed to be back in Brazil. And the guidance came, they shifted, this team above shifted it to Tulum for 12/12. I was like, are you kidding? And I asked the universe, I was like, whoever is supposed to be with me on the land, bring him now. That was it. And then I met him that night, just like that. And then within 2 weeks, we went to 3 countries to serve.
But funny enough, when I met her, she was planning to go to New Jersey, New York. She had all these events. I had my
East Coast tour. Everything canceled, except that one.
And literally, Todd, I was just doing meditations in the morning, you know, speaking to the higher source, like, okay, show me where I'm supposed to be, because I was in a position where I knew after 10 years in Mexico that I knew that time was over. I knew there was a call to go deeper after doing work in Bali, just feeling the higher call. So I just sat there waiting, trusting that the message would come through. So when I met Honi, it just took off like a rocket ship.
Galactic speed.
So, who made the first move?
That's funny because you know what I would say, Todd? I think we were both very. I think we were both very conscious that because we both serve in the light and serve from our hearts, we were so honorable with each other. Respectful. I mean, it was almost like.
But I put him through tests. Come on, Michael. It was like, as the Islamic curtain, you're over there, I'm here, nothing. You don't even come in this side. This is planetary work. Do you even know how to work with stargates? Who are you joining? I was like, you better not be one of these delicious ones that just wants to get in bed with me. I have no patience for that. And I just don't care for that. You know, my temple is not going to be served for you at all. So when we met, it was very quickly on, and I put him through crazy tests. I was like, listen, like, I'm not messing around. This is like my life calling. do you know what you're doing? And do you have what it takes? Because if you're going to be on the land with me, we're at the temples, you better know, you have to be equipped with your own. You can't rely on me. I need you to be connected with yours so we can deliver the work. And so we got on, and within 2 weeks, we were on the road. 3 days.
Wow.
It's Mexico, Guatemala, and Belize to serve the planetary work, and also very respectfully sharing a bed, but it's very clear. You don't come on this side, I don't come on that side. And you better not look at me. And on top of it, I sleep naked. You better not come anywhere.
I can totally identify with that story.
And Ty, for a sacred meal, I'm doing my best as a mature man. I'm like putting the sheet between us. I'm putting the pillow between us because obviously I see this beautiful woman. I'm very wow, but I'm still very, very enamored of the gratitude of where I am and the position that beyond this amazing, beautiful woman, I could feel underneath it there was this deep connection that I really wanted to honor that. Hearted and though there was that little boy of like, woohoo, there's this woman, there's this beautiful
love. He was
love.
very respectful, and that was the most important thing to me, Todd, because I really felt he passed a lot of those tests. Like, and it was a test, like, just, do you have maturity to see me at my I am? Can you meet me at my I am without my temple? Don't you dare be focused on my temple. There's a high level of work, and can we deliver this? So there wasn't any like making a move on each other at all, just so respectful. And that's what I had prayed for. Somebody is willing to be in that place of such respect of that divine flame.
And really, when I did meet her, I could see and feel the energy around her that it made me feel like, wow, here is a woman. You've seen girls, you've seen women, but this is a mother. This is a woman. This is someone that you have to respect beyond, because not only did when I first met her, I could feel the frequency of energy, so that when we were together, there was like a team around her. It wasn't just Honi. There was a full team that I knew that I was closely being watched, yet standing up for the situation, because where we went, through pyramids, through jungles, like, we know as a traveler, one of the biggest tests is when you're on the road and you get hit by every type of circumstance. When you meet someone who travel and you literally have met them for, this 2 incarnation, 2 weeks, and then before you know it, you're on planes, you're following the popcorn seed, and you're off, and then you're just like, listen to me, I'm going here, don't say anything. I follow this. Do you feel that dimensional shift? Okay, go there. Don't say anything. Okay, I'm taking my clothes off. I'm going here. Okay, go for it.
And I'm like, if you don't see the code, you can't say anything. You see the codes here. And then so within it, like beginning for him to see me go into channel, the transmissions coming from for example, the first one was the Council of Light, and there's instruction what to do on the land. Like, he had to be very ready. He faced so much.
It wasn't like, here we're gonna go to a movie. Here's some popcorn, sweetie. It's like, here the Council of Light's coming through you.
And we're battling forces too, Todd. Like battling forces.
Yeah.
Just so.
Yeah. No, I can identify with that, because in those situations I've had with Morgan, I just follow direction. I just say, okay, whatever you say, It's,
God bless you.
I'm just there. Whatever you want me to do. You want me to sit here and hold space? I'll hold space. Whatever you need me to do.
Right.
And you're right. It's and our journey was a little different because we were apart for so long. But yeah, we still had many etheric experiences on the phone for a year and a half. I never even saw her on video until almost 16 months after I met her.
Wow.
She wouldn't. So everything. So those tests that you're talking about, I think I can relate to that a little bit. Yeah, that's beautiful. So let me ask you this. You guys have done a lot of work, a lot of grid work. We could talk about a lot of things. But because of the way it's gone down and what's happening now, I just like to get your views. on this transition we call ascension, and what the divine conscious union role is. And you know, what is the importance of that? What is the meaning of that?
I give you a talking stick. I like what you have to say. My girlfriend Teddy Lynn made this for me, so I'll have him go so I can be an observer today.
I was so ready to listen, Todd. You know,
right?
You know, because I love the language of honey and I love the expression. But thank you, my love. I really feel that from my heart, I really believe in this ascension. It's really bringing forth, just straight to the point. It's bringing forth love, Todd. It's bringing forth what we've been created for, and bringing those that are to serve together and to be that expression, and through that beingness, and through serving, and through allowing ourselves to know that one part is ourself, one part is our union, but there's a whole other part that we know is connected directly to source.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when you sign up for this, you definitely are put through the ringer.
You mean you?
I'm definitely put through the ringer.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
I say we get put through the ringer of the test, because you know in the divine union, you're going to be tested. You're going to see how strong your love is. And what I really believe, Todd, it's standing up not just for love, it's standing up for divine love. Standing up for what you believe, what I believe in this planet, in this evolution, in our dreams of what we see of bringing peace, light, and love to this earth. And during a time which we know we're being fully cleansed, cleared, and purged, to where all of our dark, all of our triggers, all the things that has to come out is being purged at a pace that is mind-blowing. Almost like you're just standing back and being like, wow, how fast are we going? Because, you know, just today she's like, are you keeping up with me? Because this galactic being, you know. I was on a surfboard living in Mexico, you know, with an outdoor office and living the dream, you know, living the lifestyle, because that's what my little sanctuary brought me in my hibernation for 10 years before back to the grid and into an area of Washington, D.C., which we know we're here to plant seeds of light. But to get back to your question, in the divine union role, I feel those now are being called to now stand. Stand for love. Stand for, especially in bringing forth our divine masculine qualities as well as our divine feminine qualities. And honor each of those that are awakening, honoring the consciousness and honoring how the whole evolution, because I know sometimes in our own spirituality, I know in a lot of times there's this new age level where there's a separate ego, and we tend to, but we have to look at everyone as one. We have to look at all of them as brothers and sisters, and how we can help each and every person. And wherever they are in the journey, we are here to support and to reflect that and to be that. And that's one of the biggest things that I feel honored, because literally, Todd, I was off. I just joined social media a year and a half ago. I was off the grid, and just to join Honey, which she's been on the road, she's been doing live streams. I mean, she's like, get on video. I'm like, I'm still getting comfortable in getting on video, because I've literally been kind of my hibernation, my little cocoon, waiting for this experience as I was building, growing, preparing for many, many years. And so I feel blessed to be in this divine love, because I know that we're here to serve.
What Todd wanted to know regarding this union in respect to the ascension, what do you feel is the importance when there's a sacred divine union? It's contribution to ascension. I keep a track on the questions, Todd.
That's going to lead me to the next question, but go ahead. That's a good point.
It's good, because I feel, you know, when I really look at ascension, you know, the word that I feel is evolution. I feel it's our ability to keep growing and keep evolving. And so when I look at the divine union in ascension, I feel it's the masculinity and the femininity coming together. But most important, what I see in my role is the divine masculine supporting and honoring divine feminine, because we know at this point, Mother Earth, our divine mother, this is a time where we have to put all of our energy, all of our force to support the Creator, to support the love, and to see where we've come from. Thousands of years of emasculated energy. And so now to look at our ascension, it is now time to show that a divine masculine, divine feminine sacred union is here to support that rise of the feminine, to support that rise of the love. And in union, we reflect that back, specifically in ascension, to show others, which I feel so blessed, that there's hope, there's faith. I can't tell you, Todd, how many people, when they see us, they're like, you give us hope, you give us faith, because we know there's many women, many men that still look out there and say, is this really going to happen? Do we really have the ability? Is there a sacred conscious male out there? Is there a sacred conscious feminine? So I feel there's much more, but I know that for me right now, in this union, it's that balance of my masculine and sacred divine feminine, because we know that the divine masculine has been just, it's been
and that's a good point. And I think where we struggle with it is and this is the follow-up question to Honi's remark a minute ago, which is right where I was going. But it looks like an imbalance. From where we're coming from, it looks like an imbalance, and that's where I was going to go with it, because I guess I don't want to create a leading question, but what I'm trying to say is the divine conscious unions being a reflection of the energies, the masculine and feminine energies collectively, as a representation, in my relationship with Morgan, and what I'm picking up from you is that we're, as the masculine incarnation, handing over that leadership role, be it temporary or not. It looks like an imbalance, because that's what my relationship reflects. That's what yours seems to reflect. And do you think that that's what's happening? Do you think that? How do you feel about that? I mean, what are your thoughts on what the masculine is giving up, and to you, Honi, what is the feminine? What is that role she's stepping into that she hasn't been in before? From where we come from.
I'll quickly say before I pass over, but I think you hit the point, Todd. I think right now, as you know, within each of us there's a masculine and feminine within us, and I find that within the sacred masculine, it's time to step forward as leaders to bring forth our feminine energy, to bring that balance to the planet through our actions, through our creations, through our beingness, because right now the masculinity has been out of balance.
Yeah.
On the feminine side, when you look at the emasculated feminine energy, right now there is still that element where, because masculinity has been so excess, right now it's bringing that feminine energy to meet that in the rise, so that we create that balance. So I completely agree that it's been out of balance, and now it's the time to support that, because we see, even in the work they do in shamanic energy work, some of the first shamans on this planet were females. When you look at the creation energy comes from the mother.
Yes.
And there has been this misbalance over thousands of years where, in no disrespect, but through religion, through church, through politics, through society, it's been a misuse of power. And in this misuse of power, we're coming forward to show what is the most powerful energy. It's love. What signified? That's feminine energy. That's yin.
Yes.
We can honor that and support that, and we know we're going to love. We know that we've been here to express love and be love. That I feel is the mission, is really to bring forth and come from all creation in that power of love, and to really bring forth that. We have a big work ahead of us, because we know as a masculine, a lot of us are in our minds, in that energy, and it's dropping from the mind directly into the heart. I know, Honi, I feel you're ready to say something.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm actually enjoying this so much.
Because I just feel very motivated. Recently, with my father passing and just going deeper and feeling what he stood up for love. He stood up in the 60s and 70s and went through the generation, and I could really see what was happening in that decade. And now looking as we are moving through the ascension, of really standing up for what it means for love and how we are to express that in it, not just talking about it.
Right.
The big thing, that walking your talk, because you've seen it, Todd. I'm sure you've seen the ability where we hear a lot of talkers, and I've realized even myself growing up, there's a lot of split energy where we are so honored to feel it. We're so honored to be indoctrinated by it. We're honored to be reminded, but to actually walk that path and give up, which both of us have done, give up our clinics, give up our sense of what we are on the grid, and now be from a place where we can serve from our hearts and trust within that we can follow our hearts through our love, because we're each other's biggest support in that love. Because when we have our moments, one of each other has to stay above to rise that love, because we know we are hit. There are moments, even like half an hour before, I had this headache pounding, and she, came and did some beautiful energy work on me, and I knew it was just, the times are heavy, Todd. There's a lot.
Yes, they are.
And as being in America, we're in the heartbeat of,
Yeah, that's right.
So it's we're in, ground zero, but it's an honor, because I feel like we're all being pressed to step up to our fullness, pressed to step up to see how we can be the highest expression of our divine nature. And that's what I feel is pure love. Now it's that awakening factor of to act upon it.
So this is good. So from your perspective, then I'm going to go to Honi, because I really want to hear that side too. I think it's important. So as a male incarnate, as a masculine energy, what was it like, or did you have to give up anything within yourself to grant in the external that power over to your divine feminine partner?
Oh, you better believe it. I would tell you this: the one thing that I had to give up, it's that ego. It's the mind.
Sing with my love. Sing it.
I'm not the only one out there.
It's this masculine ego. Woo-wee. It is.
I know. And
I'll tell you, we know that we've been programmed, we've been conditioned, we've been placed in ways so tightly bound that as far as you want to run away, until I ran far. I left America. I found a nice little village in Mexico. I left it all to come back to DC to learn that it's literally burning of the ego and that mental body of what you know.
Yeah.
It's cool. But if you see it, it's become so overstimulated in our body.
And what was it for you, the eye, from your perspective? You really nailed it. It was the burning of the ego.
It was the burning.
What was it?
Yeah,
What can you say to that? Like, some examples
I would be humiliated, because when you're with your partner, she's gonna call you fast. She's gonna call you fast. And not only does she call you fast, she's like, you're either gonna deal with it or I'm out of here. It's like pretty much being
very clear.
Like if you're not gonna work with this, so I know that there were a lot of little boy qualities about me that I had to let go. One's of course is money. Of the, when you first come back into a country, living in a third world country, and having this male, masculine role of support, and seeing what money does and how that affects you in your own power. Also, the ability, which I find is the biggest one for all of us sacred masculine men to understand, surrender. Surrender that right and wrong. Right when you like, you know what? I'm just going to be quiet. Because
that's what I'm saying.
Sometimes
I just had a show prior to this with a beautiful guy, Miguel Dean.
Okay.
And I told him, and because I'm trying to find a way, and you're doing it beautifully, Michael, for this to be heard. Because I can't. I'm a writer, and I can't verbalize this yet. But so what does that look like? And for me, it was on my knees at the blood moon eclipse. And I told this story several times online, but I was on my knees, and that was it. It was a straight up face to face. And I said, take it all. Take my sexuality, take my, take my genitals, take everything. I've got nothing left. I surrender, And it was brutal. It was a brutal thing. And of course, my divine partner, knew in her infinite wisdom to let me handle this on my own. So she was nowhere to be found.
Of course.
But the of course the payoff was the elevation that has occurred and is continuing to occur, because that decision made from the heart is what I'm trying to get at from the masculine's perspective, which you explained so beautifully. Now, so I want to ask Honey Bee, so what does that look like for the feminine? Because you've been in this game for a while. You've thrown down the gauntlet with your partner. Yeah, you call them out and you say, you either stay up with me or you don't, and you just did it today, didn't you? but what is that? How did you get to that point? What does that look like? What is it like for the divine feminine to take on that power? What does it look like, feel like? What does she have to do? Because that's not where we came from.
Yeah.
We came from that place where you were suppressed and many, many other things.
Thank you so much for that question, Todd. I really appreciate that. And I really want to thank Michael. You answered so beautifully, and I really appreciate the raw and the truthfulness of it, because there is a lot in this space when we step up to divine. That means every part of us, every aspect of us, every monad, every body, everything is up for examination in the presence of divine first within. So one of the first things that when I met Michael, like, I held him accountable. I hold myself accountable first before I hold anybody else accountable. Because my devotion, discipline, practice, commitment to divine is a very strong practice. And that place, and for me, has been very clear. If there's anyone that will to walk with me, they have to have that strong of a practice, daily discipline. Because for me, this is not joking around. To me, this is of honor. I'm very clear, like a diamond clarity, why I'm on the planet and what this is, especially because after I had died, experiencing life after death, everything that was revealed to me in the revelation and the clarity with particularly beloved Christ that showed me so much, the golden doctorian elders, everything is so precise, clear. And I was sent back with that precision of clarity. And one of the most important things for me was to examine within myself before the divine partnership inform can come. And believe me, there are many potentials.
Yeah.
Quite hold the frequency, because they had potential, but they couldn't own it, because there's an ownership of this frequency. And so, but one of the things that had to take place was within myself, within particularly my lower three chakras, everything from this lifetime and all other lifetimes had to be faced by myself first.
Yeah.
All of my own BS, my belief systems, had to be up for examination within myself to face them clearly and choose to clear that within my vibration field. So then I'm more and more connected to the divine presence of the I am within me, myself first. And I remember there was a one moment before I met Michael. It was several months before I met Michael, and I made this. There was a gentleman that had entered my life, and I really felt okay, because the spirit team had shown me this divine partner is coming and we'll be able to serve together. So I've been on the lookout for him, very specific information. And this one, not quite, and it's created a lot of frustration. And one of the things I did, I went inside so deep, and I go to places that most people aren't willing to face, but so deep in that so I can be my own resurrection flame first,
Right.
before I can serve from that place. And within that place, I wanted to go to the core of what is it on that my outer experience that's really guiding me. And I had to become the beloved myself before my beloved informed the divine partner would show up so we could
Yeah.
and that was a very intense inner journey with becoming the beloved. So that means, and what I realized that I wasn't aware was that I was very angry at the, the masculine God.
Yeah.
Cool with the feminine God, no problem. But I had so much anger towards that representation of the master that hadn't protected me as a little kid, sexual abuse, and the brutality, and so much of the pain in this lifetime. Yet, in gratitude of it at the same time, and there was a moment that I had to sit and really recognize, wow, I had shut the door of the masculine frequency of God inside me. And that's what this was coming on the outside. Though I've been working on the clearing with my sacred holy blood, the masculine energy for years, sharing my holy blood with the land that I talked on your show before, and there's a lot of that. Yet, wow, this was happening so that I can really merge that frequency within myself first. So
Yeah.
I became the beloved and the love and no more resistance of
Yeah.
the being that is me and its beauty and its grace. So within 2-3 months later, Michael informed show out of nowhere. And I have to tell you, after that experience, I was just so much in gratitude. I am perfectly fine to deliver the rest of this divine mission that has been shown by myself, by this team and the masculine divine, and no problem because I am the beloved. I
Right.
am who I've been seeking, who I
Yes.
and little did I know Michael showed up. So when Michael showed up, it's incredible, this incredible, intense like recognition, but not a twin flame. Not that, a very strong soul. And we knew each other. We said right away, we've known each other. It's been like 11,500 years. Where have you been? Like, here we are, we're catching up again. And right away, but the
Can
thing
you keep up this time?
Yeah.
exactly. And
Good
then
point.
but then what was different was that there was a lot of and for me, because I hold myself accountable, so I had to right away be like, whoa, like there's no room for errors, there's no room for immaturity, there's no room for not standing to the presence of divine you yourself. I will not share that space. So
Right.
when a sacred divine feminine owns her power, she is in her sacred power of both divine masculine and divine feminine. There's nothing she needs on the outside. Everything is fueled by the sacred flame of the inside. And the vision is extremely clear because the vision is seen from here in its merging of the X and the Y, the horizontal and the vertical axis, that crossing. So from that place, it was very important for me. I couldn't share this divine mission. It's a divine mission. I'm here as a volunteer soul, temporary to serve. I'm not here to share somebody who's just trying to, though we have a lot of fun, we laugh, but somebody who's as serious as I am to get the work done. It's a mission, and then we go off back to the stars. So from that place, because I hold myself accountable, and not from a place of judgment, from place of love, where I sit in that practice. Michael had to step it up because he sees my practice morning and night. I don't mess around, Todd. And because I recognize it's from this flame I serve from. And I often have individuals always ask, how do you manage all of this? It's unbelievable. I don't do it. It's that practice every single day, every devotion to that sacred love of the divine, and from there we share it. And it's a fuel in which fuels us, give us the strength to be able to serve. It's just plain divine service. So to answer that question for you, it is my responsibility. I don't hold Michael responsibility for my joy, for any part. The only thing I hold him responsible is for his divine relationship himself. And if he does that, you're able to share. Very simple. It's uncomplicated for me. And that's what I get on him when I see he's lacking off. Or how you say, not lacking off, how you say, like, slacking off. That's
slacking.
Or it's the presence. It's the presence that maybe I'm not fully in
being present. Is that right?
Ownership of it.
Ownership of it, because you know, as we know, when we're washing away and burning the ego inside, when we're coming, you know, I must have signed up for one hell of a mission, because not only did I for right out of Mexico off the beach into DC, but I had, you know, a father that was passing away of a slow, you know, terminal illness, that it was like, okay, there's family, okay, here's introduction back to the United States, and now here's your beloved. Are you ready to jump on board? Because the train's leaving if you're not going to hop on the first passenger, and here we go. Because it's like washing away of all that I thought the work that I was doing beforehand, training, the meditation, the energy, and that path of, you know, being by yourself for many years of doing the work. The mind thinks it knows, it's prepared. And then you get put next to your divine partner, and that's when all comes out. And that's when I watch you, Todd, and I smile and laugh when I see you and Morgan. I giggle. I feel this like mutual brotherhood, because I immediately feel like, I relate to this. I see this, because they're our teachers. They share exactly what they see, and they do it out of love. And I couldn't be more grateful.
Yeah. And part of it, let me just share this. Part of it, Todd, one of the things that was revealed to me by the Ascension team, by the masters, the beloved that will be walking with me, his role is extremely important on the planet. He is part of the support of the rise of the sacred divine masculine. And I knew my role exactly where I'm positioned. And that role is to be in my sacred divine feminine, hold the frequency so that he rises and he leads the other men, not masculine, the sacred masculine.
Yes.
Very different. We say, I get all the hitaku ushua iati, irakuru turu ayati, iatu ayashiati yakiai, uruku dayakieta. Very important. It keeps coming, because when he's able to stand in the presence of divine force light, he's able to assist in his beingness the others to come in the same place that they also know. So I always tell him, I said, Michael, you got a big role.
Yeah.
You better be ready. You want to serve this with me? You need to get everything that is brought up is because it has to be clear. That includes stuff that comes from me. And if I bring something, if I say it, is because you must realize I was not allowed to voice these. I wasn't. So it is very important. It doesn't matter if I'm angry, upset, whatever. You must hold the frequency. So I have the permission to express, because I am doing this one part for me, one part for my ancestors, one part on behalf of the women who were never able to express. There's the collective agreement that is shifting. You are part of that. So I have been responsible and holding my role in that very big vision. So that way he has had to grow himself into that vision. And when I felt like, you know what, you ain't got it, I'm out of here. One of the most beautiful thing about my husband, he saw that. He's like, oh shucks, no, I don't mess around with this one. No. I'm growing myself, because I was raised I was ready to serve at this level. So it's been an incredible training ground with Michael to become, realize, and actualize. And I always told him, I said, Michael, I see right through you if you're talking shit. You don't, because you know what? You want to face, you say that you have to, you don't talk shit in front of divine. That means everybody is divine. The soul between you is divine. And if you're not speaking from a place of authenticity, your own direct experience, you're talking shit. You can't walk with me. Go have your own experience. And from there, you speak only from that in which has been revealed to you. The rest is out of the picture. And what he's done has been remarkable, I have to say. He really has rise in his sacred divine feminine, in which he saw, wow, the power of it, because now he is able to taste, holy moly, the sacred divine masculine that he never fully knew. And now he's seeing, and that's what's creating the magic of what we are able to be just gifted to witness in the presence before us, with people coming for healings or events, or when we do the land work. So I feel that's what that is.
Wow.
The ladies' room for a moment, all this energy.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy. I don't even have to ask any questions. I know where he's been.
I mean, when you're with a very powerful divine woman, it automatically makes you rise in that nature. And
you want to hang around.
You learn real quickly. I've learned from the beginning not to take anything personal, not to be defensive, to look deeply within myself, because doing all the work, it's when those triggers come up, how to really look within yourself and to really see that it is that journey within, that love that you feel within, that you have to honor yourself. And that's one of the big questions that I really appreciate what Honi spoke about, because a lot of us, we don't really talk about that self-love. It almost seems like an old word that some people look at as like, well, if I put myself first, if I love myself first, from religions or society, I feel guilty, I'm selfish, I'm egotistic, I'm vain. But what's beautiful about Honi is she puts herself in that role of divine first, so that when we love ourselves to the highest level, we can share that.
And you too, I tell him, the minute he's off with me, I was like, whoa, you haven't loved yourself enough. Go love yourself and then come back to me. Like, you know.
I mean, paradigm, you know, that old like, Juliet Cinderella, like, if I love you, you're going to love me.
No.
And it's that detail, right?
I can relate. Yeah, I totally relate to that. It's a good time to have this conversation. Because I can see everything much clearer than what I've been through, you know. But it's very true. Now, you guys have done all this this grid work, you know, and all this stuff together. I would imagine you've had some pretty profound divine episodes, divine intervention, that type of thing. Morgan and I have had our share as well. I was just curious, though, because you guys have been physically together consistently, and we're looking forward to that, by the way. But what I'm saying is, have you had any external episodes that you mutually shared, experienced together, such as, you know, higher aspects of yourselves, visitations, ETs, that type of
If I may, I'll say is this: if I could relive my 5-year-old journey of like living Star Wars, Star Trek, every sci-fi movie, and pretend that I'm a superhero, that's only 1 ounce of what I get with Honi, because this external nature of what comes through her has been the most unbelievable, hair-raising, exciting, spontaneous moments where literally we are in awe from the first time, which I would almost say when we were in Tikal at the pyramids, and we were instructed to do certain circles around pyramids, and here we are planting crystals and balancing the sacred divine and the masculine divine as we're walking across in a full park with tourists as we're like,
but right before that, the council, I start going to transmission, the Council of Light coming and giving us instruction, and we have to be very nonchalant about it.
Kind of like it's kind of like Men in Black, like you're in the pyramid, you're doing all the work, and everyone's walking around. As she's going to channel, you see people behind you, they're staring. So I'm kind of, just okay. Council of Light moving through, and then we do this, and then we're both in tears, and then rainbows connect the masculine divine temple to the other one,
right in front of us, right above us, instantly as soon as we finish the work.
And then
they said, leave now.
Leave now, and the parrot starts crowing, and the rain comes, and we're in tears, being like, we feel that, were we married here? Was this our last incarnation on this human form? That was the first, and I'll say, Todd, that was just the prelude. Because as you know with Honi, which you'll say more, I am the conscious vessel of when the channel comes through Honi.
Tell Todd about, the amount of encounters you've had. Often, Todd, we get into a little bit of humor because humor is good. So
yes, it is.
Michael is very precious, and it's just so happened to be team above, whether it's the Great Order of Melchizedek, or whether it's Lord Metatron, or whether it's like, say, I don't know, the Councils of Light, or the Legions of Light, or the Great White Brother of Light, or whatever. There are teams of them. Often, or the Antarians, or the Andromedans. I have to tell about what happened with the Andromedans. So what happens is, when there is a message, sometimes my body aches. Because Michael does body work, the minute he touches it's like a key and a lock. He touches my body, my consciousness leaves, and the presence comes. So Michael has had the honor of having many of them. Often I go into these crazy high-pitched sounds, and then I'm out of there. Me, the consciousness personality, and then there's this presence comes in, and they hold him accountable right away, give him instruction. There are all these things he has to do. It's like,
yeah.
I can imagine
there's a lot of middle of the night, and then there are times they don't like him. Like the Andromedan High Council came in. He did not like Michael's presence, or didn't really like my vibration either.
I was because I record everything.
Yeah, that's what we're creating the book.
I was holding the recorder so close to it.
Excellent.
And because I was holding it so close to the Andromeda, he was like, "What are you doing, you filthy human?" Like, he stepped back because he was delivering a message.
He was talking about the timelines, and Michael was distracting because he just, But Michael has had to face so many different beings and councils and encounter and have crazy experiences, and they're watching him, so they're correcting him all the time, because I am as a trans medium, but I'm an incorporated trans medium. So it's not just like this. I'm fully out, so my entire vessel takes over, and it's been a wild ride in Michael experiencing so many otherworldly phenomena from so many different dimensions, and very precise information and teachings, and teaching him regarding the healings of the body and what to do. And one of the most beautiful ones was when we were in south of France, when I was in quite a bit of pain on my back, and then again 3 in the morning, the Antarians came through. The Antarians are I feel very close to Antarians. They're very beautiful. They're very tribal community, and they came in. They start speaking in the Antarian, and then they began helping Michael. They wanted Michael to help with the release of the trauma in my body from the sexual abuse. So they were explaining why. Well, they were first explaining why those of us who channel so easily, often we were sexually abused, and because we were sexually abused, we were able to disconnect very quickly. So they came to explain their council, the elder, when the child that's happening, when the consciousness goes, they are stepping over to take care of their soul, so that they don't remember so much of the trauma. And then, so they ask for this violet light, like a lavender light, 3 points on my body to come in to help clean it finally, purify it, so the trauma energy is out of my body. So there's a lot of high level of technology teaching that comes in. And Michael has had to learn many different voices, and they're very intense that they come in, including me, including one of them, me being a puma in jungles, and full puma.
She was growling.
Well, full puma coming, talking about the wisdom.
Todd, it's like a movie that like.
No, I know, I get it. I get it. I'm just, again, very thankful to be able to hear this, because, you know, I've stood in your shoes, maybe not exactly, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen them come in. I've stood there, you know, while you know, Morgan's, I don't know what the words are, channeling or whatever you want to. Now, we've seen physical manifestations appear in our bedroom, very much, and also we've looked at each other and watched each other's faces morph into past lives, off-planet lives, the universe, you know, basically a window into the universe, that type of thing. One in particular that was really funny. Well, since we're talking funny, was one we had a little 4-day honeymoon in New Jersey, a little hotel room, and so the night before this happened, I'm laying in the bed, and she just has her hand on my chest, and I'm watching all these different aspects of her. Her face is changing. You know, it's changing into different incarnations, and they're all telling me how much they love me. And that was it. That was the intimacy of it. It was very powerful. Well, one of them was that, and I've seen it more than once, was the goddess Kali. So half of her face turned black and half turned bright white, and then her tongue came way down, and she's just looking at, but she's telling me how much she loves me. You know?
I love it.
Yeah. So the next morning I got up and we were talking, and I was getting dressed. I had my pants on. I was going to get a shirt off a hanger. You know, in those hotel rooms, they got the hangers. They don't have the hook. They got the little knob on it. And you stick it. Yeah. So I was talking about it, and I like to make a lot of jokes. And so I was talking. I wasn't really being disrespectful, but I just said, "Wow, man, Callie's tongue, your tongue got about halfway down your chest." And she had her back to me, and she says, "Are you being an asshole?"
Yeah.
I said, "No, I'm not being an asshole." And of course, I was grinning from ear to ear, and I pull my shirt off this hanger, and the hanger flies through the air, and that little point on the end of it hit my toe, right below the nail. It was the most painful thing I've ever felt in my life. I'm screaming, and she's over there cracking up, you know. But you know, there is humor delivered in these divine episodes, and there's a very serious aspect to it. And it's phenomenal for me to sit here and have this conversation for a lot of reasons, but that part of it is very real. We've talked about it, and I think it needs to be talked about, because this is our true nature. This is what we really are. Yeah. So thank you for letting me share that.
One thing I want to share real quick, Todd, is the beauty that I'm sure you've seen, that Morgan's seen, that we see, is what's coming through is really the wisdom that we're being reminded that's within us. And it's, to me, it's the deepest blessing that I could be a part of, because it's one thing hearing it, but to be in that vibration and just to be grateful. Even when she's already passed out, I'm sitting there and being like, wow, Martin.
Because when they come in, and then I go to bed, he wants to talk. I want nothing to do with it, because I still like, I don't want to I don't want to talk about it because I see everything imagery, and I'm very aware of who spoke through me. I just want to be back to my body, like me, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like a little puppy dog. Luther King just came through. Did you hear about the Silent Revolution? Or, you know, Melchizedek came through, or there's this great wisdom, and I'm like,
so he gets to be with them all the time.
So I'm sitting there in bed, she's asleep, and I'm just sitting there being like,
right.
I'm not supposed to go to bed because they told me to put above, transmit golden light through the body, and I'm doing like, don't think about it, feel it.
Okay, they did tell him,
like,
and the second he's off, they tell him
because it's so overwhelming, and you have to be on. I mean, I feel like it's sometimes Indiana Jones / Superman galactic food, because it's so on that you're just in that vibration. And to me, it's awakened. And what I find with Honi, it's activated, because one of the biggest channels, Todd, was a year ago, which I'm sure she shared, that transformed my shamanic acupuncture to the next level when Archangel Michael came through her and showed me specifically, spoke to me, which I put me to tears, because he's speaking to me how to release lifetimes of pain and suffering that we hold in our fingertips and hands, which I actually called it the Archangel Michael healing. Not me, Archangel Michael, but the Archangel Michael healing.
He gave the
instructions
for fifth dimensional
frequency. And Todd, I'll tell you this, all of my healings have shifted to this one healing, because it's created such transformations that literally people are having journeys, if they were on either ayahuasca or connecting to source, hearing past lives, that to me, I'm sitting in awe, just in surrender mode, as you know, we're just in this vessel, and it's coming through us. All we have to do is just be alert and be attentive to it.
I wanted to share something, Todd. You know, right now we're so joyful to share it. We're just so honored. And I do have to tell, we have faced very, very dangerous things as well. I feel like one of the things that I really want individuals to realize, like when we are doing specifically serving the land, we don't announce where we're going to be until after, because we also have had interference, and and very severe, vicious, dark attack.
Attempts to break us up.
There's been a lot of attempt on that. There's been a lot of, but very dark draconian beings coming in. That was, I feel like, one of the most vicious attacks I've had has been facing one of the draconian beings that came in attempt to kill me. And but within even that, and Michael's presence, right in, he's seen some very also scary things. And within that place, because of my connection with Mother Mary and beloved Christ is so much, within that moment, the great order of Melchizedek, they entered, cleared the field, and then Mother Mary entered into my presence and in back of me, inside of me, and then Christ came inside of me, and they pulled them away, and the draconians could not stand in that frequency, and a whole lot happened. But point being, we laugh a lot. We goof around, joke so much. We have to, because there's a lot of intense insanity when we go. We're very focused, and I'm constantly seeing things through different windows of consciousness and information and insight, the many different communication, and to find balance. I feel being a mother, having two sons, my 18-year-old, 15-year-old, are a huge importance in my life, because they really ground me in this dimensional reality, because there's a lot. And then, and communication right away, Michael, right away, we have to shift things around. Michael, we can't go, get on the car fast, we go. And then, you know, whether there's like let's say one of the ships is above us, and there are all kinds of things. So we face all kinds of things, but we face them. We've learned to face them with love, and we've learned to face it with stronger divine love. So I feel we have not had more attacks recently. In the beginning, there was more, because our frequency had to really adjust, and we really put ourselves out there in the front. We are in the front line. We don't talk it, we're living it and serving from there. So whenever you're up in the front line, you're hit by a lot. And I'm so grateful because the stronger our own individual practice and then together has been. So one of the things, we sit together all the time with our flame and feeding our flame, nourishing our flame, receiving the guidance, upgrading our bodies constantly. We're both healers. We constantly take care of each other. So it is such a together energy. And to me, this creates inspiration. Divine union is not for everybody. If you, I feel the message that I like to really share, if you call to a divine union, if that's your truth, you really need to do a lot of clearing in your inner self first to hold the vibration of the sacred flame in you. And then the discipline, when you come together, you bow to the presence of this sacred flame, and you are the protector, the gatekeeper, the incredible just watcher of this sacred flame. And this flame is the fuel for everything.
Yeah.
It shows us everything, guides us, directs us, supports us, fuels us, and it's 100% trust. And I told Michael, you want to do 99, get out of here. I'm not 100% or nothing. But that's how much I have respect, not from a place of threat, from a place of respect and honor. What's open to me, what's open up that I bow to, so that I can just show up in that level of honor and respect, in integrity and purity.
I think that's a couple of, that's all great. Everything you're saying is great. You brought up a couple of questions. I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
One is what you said about what we would refer to as lower vibrational dark energies. I can relate to that, individually, and I know a lot of people can. And somebody made a comment, I think it was Demetrius, but I was going to ask you that, and you mentioned it. That seems to have tapered away. That seems to have faded away. The tipping point's been reached. And I think the other thing I wanted to follow up with was what you talked about with divine union's not for everybody. But that if you're going to do it, you've got to empty that vessel, And I think that's something that's very important. And also people, as you said earlier, or somebody was saying earlier about this is what everybody wants. Everybody. Michael said earlier, I don't know if we were offline or not, I was the same way. When I, as young as I can remember, even in nursery school, I was looking for her. I knew she was there. And people say, well, how do you find that? That's how you find it. You empty that vessel, and just like you were telling your story, honey, you emptied it, and he came. The physical incarnation came of your divine masculine. Yeah. So thank you for letting me share that. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, your soul agreement is the key here. There's 7 billion plus of us on the planet. Not all 7 billion of us have agreed to come into a sacred divine union to be of service. Some are here just to clear their karma. Some are here to serve their dharma. Some are here as volunteer souls. Some are here just to have another experience. The ones that are part of this 144,000 is very specific mission delivery and coming together. So that first of the sacred divine feminine masculine embodied in one form, in the female form, sacred divine masculine embodied in the masculine form, is coming into that unification for the activation of these grids of the light from higher dimensional level, so that it becomes the realities on earth to create the cities of light. It is very specific. So there are people that want to have relationships, they want to have children. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. But they're not, again, when I said not everybody signed up to be in a sacred divine union, because in order for that, you have to have first the calling. It's not that you just, there's a calling, and that's a very strong calling. There is a very strong knowing, and there's also a bow to that. And you recognize this temple is a holy temple, and you start honoring that, because It is this temple of divine that is being created on earth. And consciousness is a very different place. And it is not to feed your lower 3 chakras. It is to from the heart center, heart chakra. So you really have evolved that energy because you've surrendered. Now you're of service. Without the surrender, you cannot be of divine service. And that union, the sole purpose is divine service for the highest good of all. It is no longer the individual, like, let me just satisfy my individual personal needs. It doesn't function that way. It recognizes itself as a part of the whole and is here to honor and respect that place. And the respect is to the vessel in which this I am or the sacred flame is operating through. So that's why I really want to correct that, because we have a lot of people that come to us. I really wish to be in a relationship like you. We're like, beautiful. Be ready to handle it too. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
that's really the reality of it too, you know, and it takes mad respect, mad courage, mad strength, and it takes, you have to be mad enough to have love fully guide you. Your only guidance is love. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Devotion.
Devotion.
Pure devotion.
And
not to each other,
No.
to that, and then together we show up.
And
that's what I mean.
And strength and courage, Todd. I mean, you know from yourself, it's that strength and courage from your heart to stand up to everything and anything that comes along, because we know what's out there. We know it was beautiful when I was listening to you and Morgan on our last trip up, and I love what she was talking about as she was speaking about all this judgment and how that the judgment was coming up, and I couldn't relate more with her, because it's that perception that's shifting right now, because there's one thing out there that I really see, that we're learning how to put more energy into ourselves versus not letting the majority perceive what we want to accept. And that's one of the biggest shifts I feel we're moving through, is how can we hold ourselves in the strength of courage of believing what we think is more important, or believing what we feel is more important than what others feel. And that's the shift that I see happening now. Because we're still in that, like, well, when the plane goes down, we still have to learn to put the air mask over, because I know as mothers, they still want to put their child first. They still want to help others, because that wounded healer wants to help everyone else, but we really have to honor ourselves first. So it's a big step that we're moving through.
But not just the little self. We're talking about what you and I, when we speak of the self, is that divine self, that presence, you know, and then from there. So it's not just the superficial, it's not that at all, you know, because let's talk about this, because I wish to go through this. The other part of it becomes like our sexual intimacy is very different in a divine union. We briefly touched about that, Todd, when you and I had the conversation, because whole different energy that is exchanged. There's a whole different, we laugh, you know, we joy, and, you know, we talk about it. I remember when, you know, Morgan was mentioning your beautiful private part on radio.
What?
It's precious here, because but it is the honor. And when I look at Micah, I'm like, my gosh, I love all of you. I love your beautiful haram. I love your beautiful eyes. But really, there's divine in all parts of you. And the thing, when I see him, you're showing up in a very different place. And our intimacy, we have some insane experiences with the pyramids above, the 3 pyramids, and so much open up, because it's a very different, and it's utilized differently, because the temple is utilized very differently, and it is as a vehicle of bringing transformation, messages, and again service. And I feel the difference, because the greatest gift for me has been when Michael holds me, he kisses me, he touches me. Every part of his being with love shows up. And it's that love that helps me open to the universe, the entire universe. And that it takes a lot of that sacred divine feminine in him to be able to come to that place so I can open up. I can be relaxed enough in that space, trusted enough, respected, honored enough, so that I can give him the keys and the codes that is part of his mission. It's a very different consciousness, you know, and I really wanted to, my heart really felt for that, because for us, we're governed by beloved Mary Magdalene and Yeshua with that information, that space we share, and the sacred flame. So again, even that is a beautiful service, because we bring insights, you know. Like I was looking for the cover of the book. We have to create the cover of the book for this channeling the master's teaching, which we just took the video shoot. And then one of it was to go into our sexual in beautiful intimacy, that place, to receive the vision, how it needs to be. And Michael's like, are you kidding me? You have to have this with the pyramid on the cover. I was like, yes, because that was the vision. We can't fight it, you know?
Yeah, that's, no, I get what you're saying. No. And I was going to follow up with that too. No, we can totally relate to what you're saying. And have you discovered, because we're still in our journey, you know, Morgan and I, but that there are portals, and I've learned this from her direction, and we've experienced this together, but portals on her body.
Yes.
Portals of information. And what you were describing earlier, you know, in retrospect, has occurred, you know, and I love the way you say it, is that space, you know, he's providing that space of safety, and comfort and balance for you to open up. You're the channel. And I can totally relate to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
fascinating. Thank you.
Beautiful thing. I feel a sacred divine masculine. When you show up from that place of love, you're helping the sacred feminine move to her sacred divine feminine, and she'll bring the entire power of force of field of light and consciousness through. If she's embraced, she is fully loved, she's fully honored, because she's seen through the lens of divinity. Then her divine essence is permitted to come in. And there's such, we call that alchemy, that we create, alchemize, and we start bringing. So when I see this gold liquid energy coming in, that gold liquid energy comes into my body, and I go through this. Oh my God. And that sound starts vibrating, and it's not like a 2 seconds orgasm, because we don't even look at it. It's a frequency that goes on, and this liquid energy is a source of fuel that feeds the entire consciousness. They said it has power, 17-mile radius. It's lifted. The frequency lifts the density. I mean, this is like high of alchemy, in which we know this from the temples of divine in, you know, in Egypt, the trainings, what have you. We're all, well, not we're all, some of us are coming back with some of these memories, how to use this now. Inside temples, we're inside Metropolitan right here, because it's very dense. We have to bring this consciousness, and it's quite incredible. We've been shamans, we've been monks, we've been priests, we've been nuns, we've been so many holy people living in caves, and they're like, out of there, this incarnation, you're going to be a regular looking person, you're going to be in the city, you're going to be with like everything, and now you got to do this. This is
right in the heart of the matrix. And you guys are right in the heart of the matrix over there. No, I can totally relate. Again, this is great validation, and I didn't need the validation, but the golden liquid we've experienced. You know, when she came this last year, we were about a week together.
Yeah.
And we laid down. There was some Pleiadian, there was some Enoch stuff happening, but what began was the intimacy, and then the basically shown Soulogy is a golden tree.
That's right.
That our divine love, that's our mission. So our divine love feeds the tree, and the tree bore golden fruit. And then, this is the kind of stuff that needs to get out there, because this is really who we are, what we're part of, all of us. Whether your mission is the divine conscious union or not, You know, we had a session last night, and she was feeling some stuff, discomfort, and then next I got off the phone with her, she laid down, then I started feeling it, and then I was talking to her, and I said, well, let's do a session. You know, she said, let's do a session. But what I saw in the session was, and I'm remembering it now, there was a sacred geometric, and I don't know what it was, like maybe a dodecahedron, but it was very galactic, very off.
Icosahedron mix.
Maybe. So, and it was placed into the masculine's heart. And what I got from it was that we're at a place now where he's found his heart, you know. And then what I saw was around the globe, I saw like these, I don't know if the right word is scepters, but like, okay, and they were planted all around the globe like a network, and I understood them to be like the Divine Conscious Union Network, which is
see this exactly. We're going to show you an apparatus thing. You're going to see this. You're going to be like, "Yep, that's it," and then I'll explain a little bit more on that.
All right.
Because you got it, because you've updated into that. So let us show you this. So this apparatus, let's see. So this, see, that's the consciousness grid. This is the unity grid, which is the dodecahedron and the icosahedron. This is the new fifth dimensional frequency of Mother Earth's new grid. And these are the ones that so Michael and I, when we're working with the gold liquid energy of activation of these points, this is what we're working with. And guess what? This is when we really encourage everybody, when you're doing your meditation, connect to this grid, not the old grid. This is the grid to connect to.
There you go.
See this in each of your chakras, and also your higher chakras, not just 7, all the way to the 22nd. And this is a huge one right in the center of your heart, you know?
Yeah.
And inside of this is also the Merkaba, but this is around the outer field of it. And this, so you totally got it. The man has come back to his heart. So now he's home to the home, to its universal sound.
Yeah.
And
that's good. That's great. It's perfect. And you know what's funny is I went up and saw both of us, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I saw this body laying down, and it was internally exposed, and it was very, very not complicated, but it was very it was just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of colors and waves and different things. And I said, well, there's a body, and all I could see was her kind of like walking around, like prancing a little bit, not showing off or nothing, but I got the feeling it was like, finally it's happened. You know? And then I realized it was me, or the masculine energy, that was being placed in the heart, and that had finally occurred. And the feminine, which I was seeing as her, was basically rejoicing and saying, finally, you know, bravo, we've got it, you know. So this is great validation. This is great. This is the kind of stuff that needs to get out there. Yeah.
And you know, and what took place during this Stargate, Todd, that we just came, and I made a post about it. There's this celebration. Wow, we did it. We're on the other side. Like, wow, you can feel it. Like, those are who we can feel finally the fifth dimensional frequency anchored on Mother Earth. So now, you know, now the cities of light are going to be building easier because the debris is out of the way. And there was such collective contribution. And I really want to acknowledge you and Morgan, and really you with all these non-stop interviews. Really, Todd, so grateful to you, because there are a lot of interviews there, but it's very flat for me. It doesn't get to this level of conversation. And so there's so many I reject, because for me, it's like I need to share the truth. And often there are places like, but you can't say this, you can't say this, you can't talk about starships, you can't talk about doctrines. Again, like I want nothing to do with that. And constantly I've been asked to like, so I only exchange when it is welcome, because we know this to be the truth and reality. And we came here to anchor these. So I can't express the level of gratitude. I feel it's been 4 years we've been Facebook friends, but we haven't, but it's just every time, and there are many of your shows I watch, and a lot of times also you spontaneously rap or make music, and just, I always just send you so much love of gratitude and appreciation. And for me, it's so good for Michael. We don't see as many examples, but true living it. And so it's been a great example for Michael to meet the people who are really living it.
Yeah.
We're living it, and Morgan is living it, and we just so embrace it. And in the Sacred Divine, we began teaching Sacred Divine Union classes. And one of the things, the challenge we found, there are people who want it, but they're not willing to put their effort into it. They may have a call. So we just like, gosh, when this came about, I really look forward the four of us co-facilitating. And I know in my heart it's going to happen, because I feel to be able to really, again, like how we're sharing from our wisdom, and you two can lead the men group, me and Morgan can lead the woman, and then we'll switch off. Me and Morgan will have a conversation with the male group, you guys for the women, and we come together and this celebration. I feel I can just see how important that is, but just for strengthening the others in Sacred Divine Union.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and I thank you for that. And I just have to say too that even though Soulogy was started 7 years ago, and we met 3 years ago, it's really it's us. It's not. It wasn't me, because even like if you take this show, which has become the main focal point, because I love doing the music, but the main focal point is getting this information out there from our hearts, right? As you were talking about, well, she brought it up, over a year ago. She said
Morgan was here.
Because she was like, you obviously have a following, you built something here, you've got some personality, da 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 da. You ought to get a show going where people share the modalities and the processes and what's going on, and it just took off. So it's, I got to say that if it wasn't for her, but then again, that's what we signed up to do. But hey, I'm just taking directions. I surrender, but I've got to give full credit to her, because I wouldn't be here. To be honest with you, I'd probably still be,
It's beautiful, Todd. It's beautiful that you can share as a sacred masculine divine, because as a brother, your words and your feelings really speak the volume over this. And it really inspires me as a sacred brother of yours to really speak the truth and the rawness that you're expressing, because it is those tears of bliss, those tears of joy, and that gratitude that has brought us together in this moment. And when people see that and they feel that, that is pure inspiration that honors these beautiful ones that are right before us, because without them, we would not be the ones who we are. And so, amen, brother. Everything that you're expressing is wholeheartedly felt, arms open, and I'm just blessed to meet others, because we know that we have a lot of work ahead of us, and to meet others that are doing it on the video and sharing your stories. This is the new wave of the future, and you're doing it through authenticity and from your heart. So thank you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
thank you both.
You for the ability to listen to that sacred divine partner of yours, Morgan, who sees you, but who sees the big you, and is right there, so that grandness of you is serving from. And I just hold her in my heart, because that's that same place with Michael. When I look at him, I'm like, Michael, you came here to serve divine's work.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like, I stand by you. And there may be a little resistance, but I'm going to push you. You
Yeah.
serve that. And you're not backing down, you know. And we share so much tears together, just so much like this, just so much tears, like just of gratitude that we're together, and through so much difficulty too. I mean, really a lot of difficulty and joy at the same time. And but we found each other to serve
Yeah.
God's work. Like, and then we found others
Yeah.
that did that. It's like it you know what it is? It feels like, there's this sigh, like, wow, like we're together, you know, really together. And it's so beautiful. The beauty is tremendous.
And your strength, Todd, I mean, to really see how you're doing this and to know how far she is, knowing how close she is. I feel, brother. I mean, for you to hold the energy and hold the space, and to know that in the distance, but yet in the spirit, she's there in the full support. And that to me speaks great volumes. That shows the greatness of who you are, and that just inspires all of us. It really gives us that hope and faith, because no continent, no country, no sea can stop life. And when we can experience that and feel that, whether it's over a phone, a Skype, or just together, that energy is always with you. Morgan's always with you. It's a beauty that we see in you, what we see in us. And it gives us the tickles. It gives us the like.
And to support you in any way that we can, also for you and Morgan, you know, in whatever way is possible, you know. We're so excited to get to see each other soon, and to know this is also very soon you two will be together all the time. We know that, you know, and what a test, what a great test. Couldn't be greater test what you're going through during this space apart. Wow, what strength you two have, and we just bow to that.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm a mess now. I'm gonna.
No, your heart is speaking, Todd.
Well,
when your heart's with you.
Yeah. No, I'd love to. Yeah.
You should see him with his beautiful tears. I love it.
It's the most masculine quality you can show.
It's the most beautiful.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. I didn't know it was coming. That's what happened. I just.
It's a good feeling for you.
Well, that's you know, to me, that's what this whole thing's about. It's about the spontaneous and you know, the raw and the real, and those to me. I mean, yeah, I honor and revere the galactic, angelic, all the essences that have blessed my path and our path together, Morgan. But to me, the human's the hero, and our aspect here is as important as any aspect of us. And I think this is where our biggest vibrations come from. And I think that's what Michael was saying earlier about, you know, that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve. And that's what we're doing. We're serving. You know, we're serving in a way that's not from that old 3D paradigm. It doesn't make any sense, but to the 3D paradigm. So I have no doubt whatsoever that we'll be together. And I also have no doubt, as I told Morgan when I first met you, we're going to be doing some work with them. I just feel it. I know it. So those are
right away.
Yeah. So it's going to happen. I've got 2 meetings I got to participate in. One's in 24 minutes, so I need to blow my nose and wipe my face. But I would love to get together with y'all again and collaborate again. I'm open. I know Morgan's open, and we get the schedule right and get her on here with us.
Yes.
And whatever else that whatever else we can come up with creatively. I love you both very much. I appreciate everybody's love and support, contributions.
Yeah.
Peace out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you.